Hello, it's Olive, and welcome to my mind design vlog. In this vlog, part two, I want to go ahead and discuss what we were going to discuss in the first intro of me starting to blog for 2020 and creating more content and talking about psychic awakening and the things that I channel. So, in this particular vlog, I want to talk about picking up on my psychic dreaming and what I picked up on ancient Egypt, and that whole scenario. So I'm gonna set up the story of how I have my dream. You should go to www.minddesignClub.org. I talk about dream analysis, and that goes into like the deeper state of people dreams, dream release, lucid dreaming, prophetic dreamings, things like that. And this is within my dreamscape where I'm in like that delta state mode where I'm able to bring really powerful and channels and messages, and these are a really great time for me opening up to receive information from I mentioned in my first blog how I had telepathic communication with extraterrestrials and all that, and it's normally within my dream state that these messages come through. Sometimes my mind gets downloaded with these informations. So the information I want to share today is about psychic channeling, what that is, if you guys aren't familiar with psychic channeling, and also the channeled information about ancient Egypt and how that came through. And I'm gonna try to explain it as best as I can in terms of how it was how the message was relayed to me within that dreamscape, how I was able to pick up on ancient Egypt. Okay, if you guys don't know what channeled work is another form of psychic communication, and what psychics are. You guys know that psychics pretty much pick up things. We are very sensitive and we're able to pick up things in places, on people, and in certain timelines, and that's what psychic do. And I mentioned in another blog that everybody has these abilities. They just have to be very aware of how those messages come through. It's no different than listening to music or seeing, and everybody actually is extremely psychic and very psychic. That's like a deja vu moment, or that moment when you know somebody's going to call you and they do. That is something that people have. And I talk to other people stating that telepathy and psychic abilities and the way that we talk are actually very natural, and that it's actually suppressed because we're taught early on the mechanics of language, of sound, and how I'm communicating in English to you, and psychic ability is just that another form of communication that everybody can actually learn. So let me dive right into the story. I don't want this particular story time vlog to take too long about what I picked up in my channeled work. And again, channeling is pretty much when you take on, and some people pick up on this differently because I've met with other people that are channelers. Sometimes they channel psychic medium. They'll be able to channel the dead, so they allow the dead to come into their beings to relay the message. People that are channelers and psychic channelers, they don't necessarily go into other people's body, but they're able to kind of interface with people and relive that moment from that message. So for example, if a psychic channeler was investigating a murder scene, they can literally go into that timeline when that person get murdered. They can feel what that person was feeling during that time that they were getting murdered, and they're able to take on, that's why it's called channeling. They're channeling that person's experience and so forth. Okay, so now that you're given that quick intro into what psychic channelers do, let's dive right into my channel dreaming on ancient Egypt and what I picked up from ancient Egypt. So I had this dream about ancient Egypt, When I had this dream, I was in Georgia, and sometimes I'll have migraines, and then I'll go to sleep, and then I'll get into this delta sleep, and I'll have this dream, and then I'll wake up, and thank God I'm able to retain a lot of that memory. But within the dream, I had a dream that my mind was looking off somewhere in a very distant place, and it's like from a bird's eye view of wherever I was. In that dream, I was not aware of my body. I was just aware that my mind is viewing from up above and down below. And as I'm viewing this place, I'm viewing another planet. So I see another planet. However, within this planet, there were pyramids on this planet. And on this planet, this is not planet Earth. There were pyramids with hieroglyphics that were very similar to the hieroglyphics from ancient Egypt. And I was with a group of people who were very curious. And I mentioned in my previous blog, hopping back to my previous blog, so we're pausing from this dream where I'm viewing this planet that had pyramids and hieroglyphs, and it's not planet Earth. I mentioned in the blog 1, you should go look at that, of how I'm used as a psychic asset. But anyway, so this is in this dream state where my mind's being used as a psychic asset. So within this dream, I'm looking at these planets. Okay, back to the dream. Okay, I'm looking at this planet, and then I hear in my mind, as they're wanting me to translate, they want me to translate these hieroglyphics to them so they could understand what was being said. And I translate it back to them pretty much. The rulers of ancient Egypt had their rules extended to this planet. So within those hieroglyphics, and I don't really remember too much of what I told them within those messages, but whoever had that hieroglyphics was the same ruler. It was either Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Those two rulers that were on Earth, the Pharaoh Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, had their rules extended out to another planet. And so I was reading the hieroglyphs back to them, and it was on a different planet. And then after that, my dream state changed, and I was back on a ship, and I was fed. The funny thing is, I was fed Indian food, because Indian food is my favorite. I love curry and tandoori chicken and all that. And so I'm back on a spaceship, or someplace where I'm given Indian food with these group of people after I remote view in the dream and translated the hieroglyphics. So I told them that, okay, they knew that they were the same rulers, and it's the Orion system, that the same very rulers that colonized planet Earth had their rulings on other planets. So on other planets, whatever planet there is out there that's been colonized by these particular extraterrestrials, there are other pyramids, structures, and hieroglyphs on those particular planets. And I bet you guys didn't know that. So far, everyone thinks that, Egypt is just the height of human civilization. But what I'm picking up from these dreams are that, extraterrestrials have created colonies on Earth, and Egypt just happened to be one of those colonies. And their architecture and remnants of it are on other planets that within that dream I was viewing. And I was taken there to view and to translate. As if I know ancient Egyptian texts, but somehow I was used to translate these texts. Now, after that, the dream further went on and showed me escaped. After that, they were relaying messages to me, showing me that, and this goes back to when Egypt was getting founded. What they did was they brought humans that were dark as coal. Their skins were very dark. It was almost like they were onyx color. And they brought these humans, current modern day humans. They brought us humans from other places, and then they brought us here to this planet to work. So it was so weird the way that imagery within the dream was shown to me. And how that imagery was shown to me was that from aerial space, I see all these people, very black Nubian, dark skin, onyx color, like coals, walking around. And what I sensed was that they were brought almost as slaves, as workers, to build and to set up the colonies. And that's what I was picking up. And this is the controversy of my dream, because when I brought this dream to one of my best friends from high school, who's like a Nigerian, and I know right now African American and people from Africa have their own history, told to them. But again, this is a psychic channeled dreaming. It's not meant to offend anybody that has learned otherwise about their histories or their ancestry. This is just a psychic channeling that I'm picking up. I wish I could visit that part of the world. It's like one of the best part of the world that I really, really have like this close connection to Egypt because of my Reiki practices and getting initiated with a lot of Egyptian hieroglyphs and symbology within the room in my initiation. But okay, so back to the dream of how these people were being used as slave force or worker force. And the funny thing is that as I was shown these group of people that were taken from other places, and the thing is, it makes you wonder, and that's where the dream was showing me. I was shown from an aerial view people that were very dark skinned, taken from different places, and kind of plopped into this place already heightenedly advanced. They were already advanced. It wasn't that they started from ground zero and built human civilization or that Egyptian civilization. I wouldn't particularly say human civilization because my background and my family history isn't tied to Egypt. I'm an Asian woman. My family is tied to like the old Khmer Empire and being a Laotian Vietnamese woman. That's my background. But this history of Egypt that I picked up through the dream was unlike any other. I don't study Egypt like that. I don't really like to read and study up on a lot of things like that. What I do is I have a very mundane life, and I would watch Netflix and Amazon Prime. So I don't, and just very fictional things, nothing about histories. So the fact that within that dream, I'm shown humans taken from other parts of different planetary systems and brought to build alien colonies here on Earth, and how they viewed these humans. They viewed them as slaves, but it's the same way almost how we viewed people that go to work, and it was almost like and this is where things get a little kind of weird. Like, for example, I go to work. Sometimes I have a regular 9-to-5 job and all that. It makes me feel like, okay, I go to work and I build. Who's the guy that's like managing all of this? The people that were brought here, the feeling I got from them was like slave, but at the same time, I also felt that they were workers. And so being that, what I picked up on people being brought over from another planetary system, and when I said people, we're talking about very human-looking people, like ancient Egypt, it looked like people that were extremely dark as coal, very human-looking, brought over to work. And the part that where they were brought over to build this alien colony, it makes you wonder modern day time now. This is me putting my two cents in. As everyone, goes into work and has a job, the feeling that I got was that from the people that brought them over was that they were pretty much slaves. but then also because they were so highly advanced and highly skilled slave labor force, that the slaves themselves did not view themselves as slave. So me working my 9 to 5 and all of that, it makes me wonder, like, as I go into work, as I'm more, I guess, like an indentured servant, but let's say many years in the future, let's say we get rid of like the workforce and there's human society has become better, will they look back at us and we call ourselves workers, we go into work and all that, will they look back at us and be like, okay, these people were slaves, you know, they don't have rules from themselves, they take their times and they're slave to corporation. So it's like that feeling, and I don't want to offend anybody of African heritage, but this is just a dream I had, and it was a very interesting dream. I wish I could share the dream with you guys versus me trying to verbally explain the visuals of the dream, because these dreams and these communication that comes through the extraterrestrials are very visual. They don't really communicate verbally. So the last blog I mentioned was that encountering these extraterrestrial is like encountering them on multiple levels. You can encounter them in the physical level, and then you encounter them in the mind space level. And that's where the last vlog was about the archons and how they got into people's head, and how the Nag Hammadi mentioned the archons, and how it was hard pressed to describe what was happening to them because it got into their minds, where it was hard for them to even explain what they were going through, you know. So communicating on this level with them is like communicating visually. You know, it's almost like a visual signal that's being sent to you. So it's not like, even as I'm describing the fact that in that dream I was taken to another planet, or more like my mind was taken there to channeled and download the information that they showed me, and they showed me that here's this planet, and distinctly in my mind they were asking me, can you please tell us what these hieroglyphs mean? And the hieroglyphs weren't on this earth, it wasn't even from Egypt, so I translated for them that it was the Pharaoh Akhenaten, and there were pharaoh's name on this earth that had their rules extended to these other planets. And then after that, within the dream I was kind of brought back, had Indian food, and then the dream sequence was then later on showed me in another section where they showed that these very dark humanoids looking people were brought to now Africa, now planet Earth. It specifically, you know, how they were brought in the very early form of when they were building the pyramid. So I actually got to see that from like an aerial viewpoint. It's almost like I time traveled back there. My mind was looking, and then viewing these people, you know, being brought over and working to build the colonies, who the people that brought them over viewed them as slaves, but they didn't view themselves as slaves. I'm sure there were many revolts by these groups because, you know, I mean, who the hell want to be subjugated and work for somebody like that? Well, that ends this vlog. I hope you find that entertaining, and if you want more dream analysis and kind of other dreams like this I have, you should subscribe, and I'll keep you updated. Bye.